What's up, Feasters? Welcome back to another great episode of the Anime Feast. With me today, this is Dominique, and with me today are my co-hosts, the lovely and talented Tawan.
How do you do? How do you do? How do you do?
The also lovely and talented and about to sneeze his ass off, Matthew.
It just won't come out, guys. No, I'm very excited what we're about to mix together today.
Yeah, Matt's been having to sneeze for about 5 minutes now, and it just won't come out. So
I'm looking to the light; it doesn't work. Don't believe that myth.
Yeah, guys, tell us the secrets to getting sneezes out. Get those across to us so we can help Matt out. But today we're cooking up something nice for you all. This is an episode for all of our One Piece fans. Those of you who know, just like we know, that One Piece is one of the greatest anime of all time.
We mean one of is.
My bad. It is the greatest anime of all time. We, as you all know, we love One Piece so much that we were once known as the Monster Trio podcast, and we became Anime Feast. We mirror ourselves after, One Piece a lot. Some of our favorite characters overall in all of anime come from One Piece. So this was a topic that we were super stoked to talk about. And today we're going to do One Piece villains. We're going to hit on some of the big names, those that you hate, those that you love to hate, or those that you just love. Like I know one of Tawan's most favorite One Piece characters is one of the One Piece villains, and we're going to discuss that character later on today as well. So, listen along with us. We will be going in order from when we kind of really got introduced to this character in a bit more of a depth to the character. So those of you who are anime only, be prepared. We don't want to do any spoilers for you all. So as we get around to characters that you haven't been introduced to yet or may not know about just yet, go ahead and feel free to give this listen a pause and come back to us the moment that you're caught up or you know more about that character. Those of you who are fully caught up on the anime or are manga readers like us, feel free to listen to the whole thing and be sure to give us a review on whatever site you're listening on us. That'd be greatly appreciated.
Or if you're watching, or if you're currently like in the beginning portion, this is probably not the episode you should listen to about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might know the first character.
Maybe the first one, but even still, it takes quite some time before we even get to introduce. But at the same time, one of our buddies, he started, he'd be at Anel right now. He might have met Blackbeard now, but
yeah. So just a little tidbit, we are going to try to keep it to the most influential villains. There have definitely been a lot of villains throughout One Piece, especially within the first 100 episodes. So we're trying to keep it as big and broad as we can, just because we have a limited time segment. But we're going to do our best to keep all the relevance that we can for you guys.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to slide right on into our first main villain, first main antagonist of One Piece. This man, had Baroque Works. We got, all the numbers, all the letters, Miss Monday, Miss Tuesday, Mr.
The numbers are the men, and the week
first.
are the women.
It's been
which
so
isn't really
long since
days
we
of the
cared
week.
about Baroque Works that Baroque Works, which I think about that all the time. Well, not all the time, but sometimes because bounty hunters were supposedly such a big thing in the beginning of One Piece, Zoro, the pirate hunter, like bounty hunters and things like that. And then we got Baroque Works, and we were like, okay, so there are these people out there hunting pirates and stuff. And then we never saw them again. We never had to see another bounty hunter after that
until Dressrosa. when and it's only for the tournament too, because the bounty hunters know that pirates will be in this tournament. But sorry, and then.
But this is none other than the main man himself, Crocodile.
Mr. Zero.
Mr. Zero.
So Crocodile is one of my favorite villains from One Piece, honestly. He's got good charisma, as you guys know from me. That's one of my big things with a good villain. Good charisma, good drive, good powers. He is one of the first Logi users that we see as well. So the Santan fruit. I do feel like they did him a little dirty. It was definitely a tier up for Luffy, and
for difficulty, yes, because I think I know you said he was a Logia, but he was the third Logia that we met, because the Smoker, then Fire Fist Ace, and then Crocodile, right?
Yeah, good
Because we
point.
didn't know it was
I
actually.
forgot about Ace being mentioned there, but yeah.
Yeah, we got a nice brief introduction to Luffy's first, his brother, and yeah, like Matt said, Smoker, which is the smoke fruit that Matt said he would have, which Jesus, but that's a whole nother thing to talk about. I agree though. Yeah, Crocodile was a villain that like it was Luffy's first real tough test because I mean he lost the first fight between the two of them, and then
the first two fights.
Sorry, yeah, first two fights. But like, what's the biggest BS thing that happened here was the fact that Luffy ended up beating Crocodile. Like, Crocodile I honestly think should be one of the strongest characters in anime. Not the strongest, probably not like top 5, but he's up there because especially being able to just like if he touches you, he can take all the moisture out of your body and kill you instantly and things like that. But for some reason he lost to Luffy. Like what?
In a desert.
In a desert.
In a desert. Yeah. Is like he is definitely one of the villains like that you can say like he lost too soon in the series, like kind of like staying in My Hero Academia that I know we this every time, but at the same time like they did him dirty.
Yeah, he lost the plot armor.
100% plot armor was this one, but it was needed. It helped Luffy, start using more strategy because we know Luffy just was a brawler. He was just threw his fists around and he was just stronger than everyone or could take more hits. But he had to actually come up with strategy to take out Crocodile. Granted, the strategy was literally just use water. Oh, he took all my water. Use blood.
Which that was some bull, but whatever.
Yeah, but
like and he's getting poisoned. He gets stabbed with a poison spear, with the poison hook, and still like I'm gonna use my blood because blood has water in it. No.
But Crocodile did also bring us Nico Robin, one of my favorite characters in One Piece. So like good things happen here in Alabasta.
Wrong anime, bro.
With Crocodile. I mean, it was awesome that he actually used crocodiles in his like area in his tank, the tank that he had full of. Like I think it was actually alligators, but whatever.
Like that was like one of the first ones to show us the sea stones because he had a sea stone prison for Luffy. Well, Smoker was the first one with that sea stone mallet or baton, but I don't know. He was a very well thought out character. He really planned his moves out. He had a plan. It wasn't just a rule over Alabasta.
And sorry for interrupting, but when you thought he was out for the count, he always had a backup plan for his like if something went wrong.
Yes.
Like when Mr. Seven and whatever the frog lady like is like, oh, well, even if I can't stop, I'm gonna still blow up the town. And it's like, oh, how do we deal with this bomb now? And that's after fighting all the Mr. 1 through 4 or 5 or something like that. I can't remember it's been forever since Dressrosa.
Alabasta.
Yeah, that's okay. I made fun of Dom, but I'm no better.
Yeah, it's Crocodile. He's what like a villain in movies and shows should be. Like he had a backup plan for his backup plan's backup plan. Like that's how prepared this man was. And again, which is again crazy that he lost to Luffy so early on because there's no shot he should have lost. But great devil fruit, great use of it. Taking over Alabasta the way he did so easily, to be honest. And just trying to get Pluton. He just all he wanted was one of the ancient weapons, and that's why he also had Nico Robin. And he did everything so well, moving as a Shichibukai. So he was one of the warlords, so he could do these things without the government going after him because he worked for the government. It was all amazing. Everything about what Crocodile did was pretty great. So it was good that we got to see him again later on in Impel Down. Granted, it wasn't much of us really getting a lot from him, but seeing him and his interactions with Dofi and some other things that happened in Marineford that we're not going to get to just yet. But I really enjoyed Crocodile.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the hormone fruit user.
Ivankov?
Yeah, Ivankov. Thank you. Because when Luffy was like, I'm not letting Crocodile go, he almost killed me. It's like, then Ivankov was like, well, if he tries to mess with you, I got him. I'll take good care. I'll take good care of him, and then
Yeah.
give him a little wink, and that's when the
Yeah,
one theory came out.
there's history between Ivan and Crocodile, and I love the different things that people are talking about. I'm not gonna say anything just yet because we're talking about the first character, but I don't want to spoil any of the anime at least. But there's some history there, and those of you who do know the theories, I really want to know which one's true because they're pretty great.
Yeah, it's been interesting seeing like, I know we're talking about it later, but the reach that Crocodile has had with other pirates, like not just Ivan, Whitebeard's known him, gosh, the whole Marineford's known him, Dofi. But yeah, his reach has been widespread other than just Baroque works, and it just happens that he was just the first one that we saw.
Because
Like
he only
I
had
feel
80.
like
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like if he would have had more time to establish himself, he would have been another Doflamingo in this world.
Absolutely. I think the only reason Dofi was able to do a little bit more than Crocodile was because Dofi had more time and because of Dofi's lineage, which we'll get to that later as well. But like, I feel like that's kind of what also helped Dofi get a little bit deeper in the shadows than Crocodile did. But yeah, Crocodile absolutely could have been Doflamingo.
It's like he rushed his plan, but didn't rush his plan at the same time. Like it really, Luffy got in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Luffy wasn't there, everything would have went off without a hitch.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Crocodile was great. And obviously after everything all about to happen, we keep going and we end up in Jaya and going to the Sky Island, and in the Sky Island we meet none other than the god of Sky Island.
No. Lightning. Thanks for the light.
The devil fruit power that I would want out of any single devil fruit. I think the Gorogoro no Mi is the one I would want. Maybe Mythical Zone instead, but probably the Gorogoro no Mi. That thing is amazing. But yeah, we meet Enel, Inudu, and like this, I think it was great for like his introduction because it really was like everyone's talking about this god in the sky that no one knows, and you don't want to upset the god, and he casts judgment, and you just see somebody who speaks out or breaks one of the rules. Out of nowhere, a giant bolt of lightning comes down and just scorches the area they were in and just decimates whoever it was. And this is God's judgment, and it just constantly happens, and you're like, who is this person?
So now that I'm thinking about that, he had to have like quite superior observation hockey to essentially have complete knowledge of where everyone is on this island at all times to be able to strike them down. But
that's also part of his devil fruit, though. The Gorogoro no Mi, like he uses the electromagnetic waves in the air to also be able to see and hear everything that's going on everywhere, like and within a certain area, but like a huge area.
I mean, it helps that he's in the clouds too. So
yeah,
all the moisture.
It's funny that these two work so concurrent. Like, the Sandman's in the desert, the Lightning Man's in the clouds. I see what you're doing, Oda.
No, he was just so cool. Like, and plus when you first met him too, he's like, who is this guy? Because I think he met Whopper, not Whoppers. Oh, no, I know. I said like the candy. No, the guy from Shenandoah who fought with Zoro and the other one of the Calamities.
I can't. I don't remember the name.
Yeah, so that's why I thought it was Whopper, but I'm thinking
It might have been Whopper then. I was like, that just doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, but like when you're first introduced, he met one of his lackeys, and he was just sitting there with the long ears, like with the earlobes, and just like, who is this guy? And then he's like, oh, like I will be the one that will let you know if you can live or not. And it's like, oh, that's so now we met Henry.
And you see him like just disappear out of nowhere constantly because he's essentially teleporting, and like you see him when Nami and them were on the ship going through the clouds, and he just appeared on the ship and zapped. Who did he zap first? I think he zapped Usopp first.
Yeah.
And then he zapped Sanji because like they're just in his way, and then he was looking at Nami, and he was like, because he was talking to, I had the guy's name, but he was the previous quote unquote god of Skypiea, and he was talking to him as he was healing on the going Mary, and everybody kept trying to interrupt him, so he was just zap zap, and then he looked at Nami and he was like, say a word, move an inch, and I get you to, and like that's how you just knew like don't mess with this dude, like. He was a true villain at this point. He was like, I am God, and what I say goes. And if you think that you can go against me, let me show you with your friends how quickly I'm gonna shut that shit down.
Because he gets almost everybody with lightning power except Chopper and Nami and Robin, I believe, right?
He does get Robin. He gets Robin at the end because he ended up making the game when he knew he was gonna leave and pretty much destroy Skypiea. He was like, I'm gonna give this game like almost a culling game. He's like, you all have to fight, and you're gonna get when at this time is when the battle's over. Yeah, pretty much like the survivors get to come with me, and obviously he was also a part of the fight, and that's why Nami kind of for a second went with him. But when he was there, and it was Zoro, Nami, Robin, one of the Shinadoans, like they were all there, and he was like, congratulations, the time's up. You guys are all still here. Join me, and let's go take over. And they all said no, and then he took them all out.
Yeah, that's a big superiority complex, and I mean, he has the power to back it up, so I can't be mad at him. That's one of the things I love about a villain too. Is just like if they're powerful and they like just do not take shit from anyone, like just something awe-inspiring about it. Like, yeah, that's a villain that should be feared. And
Enel destroyed his hometown. Like before he came to Skypiea and took over and became god of Skypiea, wherever he's originally from, he destroyed it. The same way he was trying to destroy Skypiea with that, whatever that technique was, he destroyed his actual hometown. He was like, all this is gone. On to the next.
But I can't even remember it's been so long. What was his overall goal?
I think he wanted to. It wasn't.
He built the ship to do something.
Yes, he was gonna essentially he was gonna return Skypiea to the Earth, and then he kept talking about like a vision of just like a vast land to conquer and like rule, and that's what his like thing was. He was gonna go to whatever this vast land was that he had envisioned, and it was gonna go like rule the Earth. It's just kind of like ruling the Earth because again, he did think he was invincible, which is no one could really stand up against him because of him being a lightning Logia. Nothing could really touch him, and then he can take out pretty much everyone. So it was like, yeah, you really can't stop this dude. But that was also because no one in Skypiea knew about rubber. Like even to the point where when Usopp showed them a rubber band, it was like the biggest, craziest thing like in the world. And Luffy being made of rubber was literally his natural enemy, and the only reason that Luffy was able to beat him was because he was rubber.
That realization is like, oh, Luffy actually has a shot against him. Because at first I was like, oh, there's no way anybody can beat this guy. There's no way. And then I don't know why, it's just a storytelling. Like you just forget that Luffy is made of rubber until like he zaps him for the first time. He's like, yeah, I didn't feel anything. Like, what's the big deal? And he's like, okay, that was only 500,000 volts. Let's try 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. It's like, why is he not affected? And I mean, I think Nami said it best. It's like, oh, he's never even heard of rubber, let alone seen a rubber man.
Mm-hmm.
And that was awesome.
Yeah. So again, like Luffy, what's the occurring theme for Luffy is always just like coming to the villain at the proper time to be the one person that could take him out. Because, like, again, no one else would have been able to beat Enel. At this point, we didn't know much about Haki. This is our first instance of observation Haki, and they called it mantra. But even observation Haki can't really do much when it comes to a fight against Logia, except for maybe trying to dodge their hits, but you're not dodging lightning. And so, like, anyone but Luffy would have lost to Enel, and Enel would have gone through with destroying Skypiea, returning all of that down to the Earth, or that they call it birth in the sky, so calling that down back to the Earth, back down to Jaya, and then going on to conquer however much land he wanted to before. I mean, obviously he would have ran into the actual, big people in the New World, and things wouldn't have gone his way to the most part. But I think it would have gone a solid amount his way.
I think he can take on any of the big. I think he'd be a threat in the New World.
Hockey.
Yeah,
I don't care. I mean, even hockey, but it's still like lightning still hurts.
So I'd like imagine like even Kizaru, who is light compared to his lightning, like that would be a good and fun matchup to see, honestly. But I can't imagine Shanks being taken down by him. Kaido definitely not. Big Mom, nope, because she has Zeus. So like
Also,
Zeus
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's not Zeus. It's Hera now.
Hera now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Hera would literally just eat. Oh gosh, that was a ruin for the manga.
for anime.
Well, it's okay. They don't know exactly what we're talking about. It's okay.
Yeah, but everyone kind of has an opposition. Also, Kaido uses electricity with like his Bagua, so like he would not stand up to any of the emperors except for maybe Blackbeard, and Blackbeard absorbs. So
yeah. I mean, I would say that he would be a good fight because he also would have been able to continue developing other hockeys. So it would be a pretty solid matchup. And again, he would further his observation hockey, which I think he would probably have the best observation hockey in all of One Piece because of him already having it so early on, and then being able to use it with his, reading the electromagnetic waves and being able to tell where things are and yada yada yada. So like that combination would have made him like top tier number 1, number 2 observation hockey user in all of One Piece, in my opinion. And maybe we'll get to see that because at the end of all of this, Enel, went to the moon after losing to Luffy. And I don't know if you guys read the cover stories there, but he got to the moon. He discovered like the people living on the moon. Discovered like the toys that were like built in the past, like an army of toys, and they haven't been used in years, decades, maybe even centuries. But because of him being him being lightning, he was able to actually power them all back to life. They all followed him, kind of helped him defeat some of the moon pirates, and he is making his way back to Earth with these things. So
I was reading and found that he does have a mechanical expertise, and his ability to manipulate like lightning also helps him understand the inner workings of mechanics and mechanisms, so he can just like immediately repair if something is broken. So that just adds to his power, and it would make sense to why he was able to find toys to,
he also fixed his ship when Sanji tried to break it. Like, see, Sanji broke some of the cogs in the machine, and then he was just like, shoot, let me fix the wheels.
Fix the wheels and just like lightning the wheels back together.
Yep.
Almost like a restart button. He is just a giant restart button. That's
he restarted his own heart when it was stopped. So
there's nothing this man can't do.
Except take over Skypiea.
But connected to all of this, we talked about Jaya. There was a man who will most likely be the biggest protagonist in all of One Piece towards the end. Antagonist, my bad. The biggest villain. And that's none other than our most hated, I think, you like Dopey. One of our most hated characters in the whole thing, Blackbeard. Marshall D.T.
So Blackbeard he's front. The only reason I'm frustrated with Blackbeard is because he's such an opportunist to the point where he was not powerful without being an opportunist. Like he was just resilient. And a prime example of this was the fight with Magellan. Like his crew should have been dead and would have been dead had it not been for Shinru. And him coming to the Marineford, and at the end when Whitebeard's almost dead, opportunist. Him killing his crewmate for that fruit, opportunist. Like he has no like real strength. Like, and he never his strength doesn't come from like training or just naturally being powerful. It's always just like, hey, he's he's a better Horty than me. Honestly, he's a better Horty because Horty just took those enhancement pills, and Teach just, steals devil fruit powers. But go ahead.
He's just perfect opportunist, and he's just so conniving. He just wants to. He's the person you want to hate. He is the person you want to hate. It's like like he said, he killed his crewmate to gain the power. He's the biggest. He was Ace actually got to him. Like he wasn't even thinking about it. He asked Ace to join his crew. He's like, "Oh, Ace, good old pal, buddy, old pal. Like, oh, you came here to join me, so you can actually, so we can rule this world together." And Ace just looked at him like, "No, sir. Like you broke Pop's only rule. Like you broke the dibs rule. Like he found dibs and you took his dibs on the fruit." And just, oh, sorry, go. You're good.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, yeah, that's just like kind of what we learned about Blackbeard. Blackbeard has a weird body that was told to us by Marco, the doctor of the Whitebeard pirates. He always had a weird body. Something was strange about him. He never sleeps. He's never slept a day, for some reason, which is, I mean, that kind of helps you be able to be so, manipulative and plan and such a strong planner. When you have nothing but time on your hands, you can kind of strategize to do all these things. Somehow he knew about the devil fruits, to the point where he knew specifically which one he wanted, which was the Yami Yami no Mi, knew what it was supposed to look like and everything. And the moment that Thatch got it, straight up killed Thatch and took that shit. And we learned how powerful that devil fruit is. And like you were saying, that's why Ace went after him. And but to me, Blackbeard was so funny because when we first met Blackbeard down in Jai, it was like an introduction to him being the complete opposite of Luffy, and it was kind of like the foreshadowing of them just being polar opposites in everything they're gonna do going forward. Because like they were down there eating pies, and I think it was Luffy that liked the pie, but Blackbeard hated it. So it was like, oh, this pie is delicious. Then they looked at him like, this pie is disgusting. What are you talking about? And then, no, sorry, I think Blackbeard liked the pie, Luffy didn't. And then it came the drinks, and Luffy loved the drinks, and Blackbeard hated the drinks. And it was like they were such opposites, and they kept looking at each other like, hey, do you want to fight? And like, kind of like why are you saying things that I like are good and things that I hate are bad? Like it was crazy. To the point where like even when they were leaving, they were like, hey man, give me 20 pies to leave. Well, give me 21. Well, give me 25. Well, give me 30. It was like just a back and forth of just stupidness between the two of them. To the point where, eventually though Blackbeard left out, it's like, let's not start a fight. It's not the time for that pretty much, and then left out. And
because they had to talk with the Dream Talk after when Luffy got beat up, and Blackbeard went up to him and was like, man, you really showed them guys, didn't you?
Yeah.
And he was being very sincere at that time too. He's like, yeah, like you guys won that fight. Like those guys have nothing on you. Like I can see that in you. And just talk about dreams, like chase after your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you how stupid your dreams are. Let it be a Sky Island or let it be the One Piece. Like everything, reach your goal. And
Twan, we can't hear you, by the way. Now we can.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say I felt a little betrayed after that because I did like Blackbeard. I was like, yeah, that guy's not a bad guy. He feels for Luffy. He understands the dream. Like this thing isn't dead. These people like just don't have the drive to move their dreams forward. But I don't know. I definitely felt betrayed because of that, and I was like, he's actually a piece of garbage. Like the human filth of the earth. Also, sometimes when like he doesn't stand for something when he's about to die or in a dire situation, he doesn't have resolve, and he like always goes back to a cowardly like demeanor. Like when Whitebeard was about to hit him, like, hey, no, I'm your son. You can't do this. You shouldn't hit me. Even after I've shot you and stabbed you in the chest and told you I betrayed you to my face. I mean, to your face. It's like, really?
Yeah, Blackbeard's a little bitch, but he I mean he gets away with it every time, like you were saying. He's just an opportunist who always finds these things. And again, it's like that he's such a good villain because he does get away with these things, because he's so successful in these different things. And just like, again, how did he I want to know what he knows. Like, how did he know these things? How did he know which devil fruit to find? How did he know specifically like where like how to steal devil fruits from other people? Like how are all these things something that he learned? Like I need to know.
Yeah.
So, but like then he'll continue to be a villain because of what happened. And like Jaya didn't seem like he was a villain until the end when he discovered Luffy's bounty, and it was like, oh, he wanted to actually chase after Luffy and capture Luffy when he learned Luffy's true bounty, and we discovered that it was going to be his way of getting into the Shishibukai. And then because he didn't get Luffy, he ended up, like Matt was talking about earlier, getting Ace. We see we see how the Yami Yami Nomi gets used. And then, we see Blackbeard truly being an opportunist, like using it to become a Shishibukai, and then pretty much immediately like using his Shishibukai, powers and freedom to, get into Impel Down and do the things he did there, get the other pirates, pretty much tell the world government, I'm leaving the Shishibukai once he stole Whitebeard's power, and then was like, and bam, like pretty much bam, immediately became the next Yonko. And just continue to grow as a villain, having the strongest devil fruit and the, whatever we're going to call the Yami Yami Nomi, like both of those things. And the first person to have 2 devil fruits, like everything about Blackbeard, just kind of leading up to like this man is truly going to be someone really strong, really powerful, a true villain. Because we also know his goal, one of his motivations is to like rule. He wants to like kind of rule everything and take over everything almost, compared to Luffy, who just wants freedom.
He's a kid that in class that never he does all the bad things but never gets caught. And if he does get caught, they forgive him. Like when he returned Ace and became Shibukai, like he said, like he did that, and like he went to the prison. Magellan's like, "What are you doing here? Like, shouldn't you be at the war?" He's like, "No, like I can do whatever I want. I quit being Shibukai now."
Yep.
Then they're like, "Oh, I guess you're a Yonko now because you killed the other Yonko." Took his powers.
Yeah, because once he took the powers and then everyone left, he went on to like wreak havoc, and he claimed pretty much all of Whitebeard's old territories. So there you had to give him that because he had the strength to back it up. So I'm excited to see what comes with Blackbeard. I love the different theories around Blackbeard. One, some of them that revolve around Roxy Zebek. We're not gonna get into that though, because for you anime onlys, you don't know anything about this Roxy Zebek we're talking about. You won't for a while. Just know there is some fun theories there.
Also, I'm curious why. I guess Ace only said, not Ace, but Shanks. He only said like, it's not time for me to like clash with Blackbeard yet. But I'm wondering why he didn't try to take him out when he was a threat earlier.
Well, like, Shanks did fight Blackbeard because that's how Shanks has a scar on his on his eye.
I think that's when they were younger though, because
Shanks had
used that
scar.
Yeah,
when he saved Luffy.
He uses that tool, like pretty much like the Wolverine claws. He uses that when they were younger. So this isn't really a spoiler because those of you who are anime only, like some of these things have happened. If you go catch up to them finally showing us, Roger and Whitebeard in their past, when you do see the intro for those episodes, when they show Blackbeard back at that time, he does have that tool, that weapon that's like the Wolverine claws, and that's what he uses to fight. And obviously the Whitebeard pirates and the Roger pirates fought all the time. So I think he gave it to him when they were younger. And then I think after that, like, Blackbeard kind of wasn't really a big threat. Obviously, he didn't do a lot of things. Shanks was a Yonko. Blackbeard was an unnamed, unknown pirate, and things like that. And that's why he wasn't like, I'm going to go after him. It was more so when he beat Ace, beat Ace, became Shichibukai, got all those prisoners from Impel Down. And then it started to become like, oh, this guy that we didn't think was important or, stayed under the radar for so long quickly jumped to the top. We thought Luffy had a quick claim to fame. Like Blackbeard was literally like, I am no one, just kidding, I am everything. Like it was a snap of a finger.
He will be a character to watch, to say the least. I wonder if he'll be the final stepping stone for Luffy. Probably over the fight with the world government, but only time will tell.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be the last of the pirates that Luffy has to fight. And my theory, my opinion, my thought process is he'll fight Blackbeard, you know, at the end when it's probably either at Laugh Tale or right before the One Piece, and then he'll fight the world government, you know, with the revolutionaries and things like that. But who knows? I'm just ready to see all that happen and you know, learn more about Blackbeard. And
the ending's gonna be crazy. I can't even like ending 1 is already crazy. I can't imagine the ending of One Piece itself. It's just almost unfathomable to think about.
Yeah, I greatly enjoy Blackbeard as a villain. He is the perfect opposite of Luffy, the perfect, you know, antagonist. And we'll get more of him very soon. You know, as Wano will be coming to an end, I think we're going to get more of Blackbeard stuff very shortly. Because remember, when one of the last things happened with the Reverie, when we get into that in a bit, one of the last things Blackbeard said was, if they're not gonna, if the government is not gonna take, if the government doesn't want it, we're gonna go take it. And like that was kind of the last thing we saw of Blackbeard. So it's like, oh, what are you doing, buddy? What's happening here?
My plans.
What my plans? Are you? But speaking of the road government, though, our next antagonist, I don't want to call him a villain, but I think he's a villain. But the next antagonist is none other than Magma Boy Akainu.
I mean, I feel like he is a villain because he's willing to take out his own like subordinates.
Well, because he's absolute justice. Like what the law says goes. Like, and if you're going against the law, then you're going against the government. So therefore, you must be destroyed.
Yep. And it's been like that for as long as they really have shown us. You know, Akainu has always been like angry-looking man. That's absolute justice. Defeat everyone, kill all the pirates no matter what. There are no good pirates. The only good pirate's a dead pirate. Like that is Akainu.
And he killed somebody. Well, he killed multiple people, but he killed one of our favorite killed one of our favorite characters, Ace, and that's really, I guess, the mark that he has on the series. Like he is the villain for Luffy because he killed Luffy's brother right in front of him, and that's where the hatred towards Akainu is, and rightfully so. He's just so powerful. I mean, he almost took down the Ice Age wall with his Fire Fist, with his Magma Fist. He's just an very overpowered character, and he's up on top of the world government for a reason. He's the fleet admiral for a reason.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Oda said that his Devil Fruit is the number one in an attack like strength, pretty much. Like it's number one offensive. Yes, number one offensive Devil Fruit. So,
I guess more than Whitebeard because it's, I don't know. I feel like Whitebeard would be a little bit worse just because, you know, you can literally flip oceans and break islands in half.
Yeah, Whitebeard's is like it can just like it supposedly can destroy the world, but like I don't know I guess that's not so much of an offensive thing, just like a complete destruction.
Yeah, I feel like Whitebeard is more AoE. Akainu is more direct damage to a person.
Exactly. Okay. I mean, like even in the Marineford War when we saw that trap they did where they trapped everyone in the bowl, used the ice to like surround them all, and then he just punched into the sky, and all of a sudden meteors of magma fist the size of, you know, freaking trucks came falling from the sky, like. And he was throwing the punches like it was nothing. It wasn't even like he was draining himself to do this. He was just sitting there casually throwing punches that took no effort at all. That was like wiping out everybody. So,
yeah. Drowning people, just making it so.
But like Tawan said, he does kill his own people during the Marineford War. One of the Marines was running away, and you know, Akainu don't mess with that. That's a coward move apparently. And instead of just letting this man turn around and go back and fight, I feel like a leader would be like, you can't run away from this. And even though you have a kid or a wife or whatever, get back to the battlefield. This is what we're here for. He was like, oh, you want to run away? Cool. And then just like killed him right then and there. Like,
it's like, if you're not going to help us, we don't need you. Which I can respect that too. Like, I respect Akainu way more than Blackbeard at this point, because like Akainu has resolve. Like, he has a resolve to stand by his actions of that absolute justice, even willing to fight his fellow comrade, which was Aokiji, for the right of Fleet Admiral because of their difference in opinion and how things should be ran.
mm-hmm.
And gosh, he is powerful enough to change the landscape and ecosystem of an island to always be on fire.
Yep.
Like, I feel like out of all the stuff that we do know about Akainu, we still don't know that much. He's just like absolute justice, follows, celestial dragons and the world government to a T. Whatever they say goes. So I'm wondering if there is anything that would make him like revolt against them.
Man, I highly doubt it. And I do also want to know about his history as well, because he only called Luffy Dragon's son. He wouldn't call him Monkey D. Luffy, Straw Hat, none of that. It was only
grandson.
Yeah, it was only Dragon's kid or Dragon's son. So there is some history, obviously some history with him and Dragon, and I want to know what that history is.
Maybe they were best friends.
Actually, I can honestly see that.
I was like, so can I, and then that's when like they both developed their philosophy, like they were both training together, and it's like, oh, like whatever the Marines war way is, and that's what we should. And Dragon's like, no, like we need to be more free and open up and no structure, be less structured.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Matt came up with a great theory. Dragon and Akainu knew each other. They were friends. They were all both in the Marines at some point. And Garp and
I
Dragon,
can see it as like
Dragon
Garp was like their sensei,
Yep.
and like how Garp was training Luffy, Sabo, and Ace. Was he really training Sabo? No.
It was just Ace and
yeah, he was doing that
Luffy.
for Luffy and Dragon and Akainu. And Dragon like saw the ideals that Garp stood for, but didn't like how the Marines were running things because he saw how corrupt they were. And Akainu like what the Marines stood for and was like, no, they can do no wrong. They are the good guys. So why would you even? Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense. Matt, you're on to something.
Yeah, that is like.
So we'll get more of that towards the end. I think again, that's like I said, I think it's going to be one of the final battles. It's going to be around this. So we'll see what happens with the Akainu. Great devil fruit, great offensive power, strong antagonist. Very, very important to the One Piece plot because he is the face of the royal government at this point. So he's always going to be involved. Always going to be important. And since he is Fleet Admiral now, he makes pretty much all the calls, all the shots. So we'll see what happens next with the Akainu. And then another person who was kind of in the royal government, but not anymore. But we have somebody thin things about. Moving on to our next antagonist, our next villain, to Juan's favorite, Don Quixote Doflamingo.
So this man has had a great backstory. Like I don't know. There's not anything that I don't love about Dofi's character. His rise to power was like. It came from a good place because he like cared for his family.
What do you mean came from a good place?
What?
He was a celestial dragon who came down to Earth and kill him, and then he killed them on trying to kill him.
He has such a wholesome backstory.
He's an alright guy.
That part. But he really did like care for his mom and his brother and his family, and he like developed resentment for his dad because they put him in a bad situation where he has to like starve, getting pretty much crucified by this town. He wouldn't have had that happen if he were a celestial dragon still, but also he probably wouldn't have been as powerful as he is now because he would have been a celestial dragon. But I don't know. He had an ideal that he stood for, which was family. Like those close to him, he wants to protect them and make sure they prosper. And anyone else, they can die. Point blank simple.
And his introduction was just so mystique too. After the Crocodile, the warlords all got together for a meeting, and only like half of them showed up because the other half were like, "Screw this." Because was that after? Because that wasn't when Ace was taken yet.
No, they did it. They held this meeting. They held the first meeting with the Shibukais after the Crocodile incident because they needed to find a replacement for a Crocodile. They were short of Shichibukai, and they were like, "We need to find a replacement. We have to have this meeting." And that was the whole purpose there. And like you said, you saw at that point the first instance of Don Quixote Doflamingo, and you see him controlling people. And we didn't know how he was able to do this, but you see him moving his fingers and forcing, different Marines to fight each other.
It was also interesting. Oh, good.
His power was just a mystery for so long because that was like chapter like 200 or something, and we didn't find out until almost like chapter 800 or like 700 and something of what actually his devil fruit was.
Because every time we saw him, he was like controlling someone, so it always seemed like a puppeteering power and didn't seem like anything more than that. But It was cool to see, like, when you finally got to Marineford and he meets up with Crocodile and it's like, "Oh, Crocodile!" Slice as they start fighting.
Yeah, but even with that, he was also like he was controlling Juzo at that point.
Yeah,
like the Marineford. So it continued to seem like it was puppeteering because he wanted to talk to Crocodile He was like, let's chat, and Crocodile was fighting Juzo, and he just stopped Juzo in his tracks with the puppeteering thing, and sat on Juzo and was like, "What's up, Crocodile?" So like,
such disrespect to Juzo.
It was. But then we finally really get to know Doflamingo in the Dressrosa arc. And you learn, like Tawan said, his backstory and things that Tawan apparently thought was great.
Yeah, that's really good. Really builds a character.
Yeah, really
builds a character up.
He also, I feel like Dom at least would understand his like God complex, because he deserves a God complex too, for like he was born to the highest like echelon of society, so his actually makes sense other than just his powers.
I fully get like why Doflamingo did what he did. Like, if I honestly feel like I would probably have done the same. If you're a kid who you're old enough to know, like you're old enough that you were spoiled so much to kind of knowing what it's like to be top of the food chain, and like you are, a celestial dragon, and your dad decides, hey, I know we are the crucible of it all, and we rule, the world, but I want to go live with the people. And and then you end up going down and living with the people, and they hate you because they know who you are, and they know what the celestial dragons do, and because of the conditions they're in, that causes your mom to get sick and die. And like, to that point, there's no one to blame but your dad, because he brought you into this. So like, Dad about to get it. Like, yeah, I understand why he did what he did. It's interesting because he did it when he was still a kid. Like, he was able to somehow trick his dad or kill his dad. And then I always like to, you said in one of the other episodes, that didn't work to getting him back to being a celestial dragon. And, then he got taken by the townsfolk, awakened his conqueror's haki, escaped, and, ran the underworld as Joker, became Shichibukai.
And he's also the reason that we have smile fruits, because he was perpetrating that in smile factories. So that's leading into like working with Kaido and, just promoting this scourge, because we didn't even find out until Wano that, hey, if the smile fruits don't work, you either die or you're going to end up with a perpetual smile that you can't like stop. You're always in a laughing mood. So like, that seems like torture in itself after we find out like that happens to Killer, and there's a whole village of people that's happened to, that they just cannot stop smiling.
Here's my thing about Dofi. I think out of everyone we're going to discuss here, except maybe Kaido. Nope, I think worse than Kaido. Dofi is the most evil of all of the villains. Yeah. I don't think there's a single person in One Piece more evil than Dofi, because there's nothing that he does that has like a true purpose, a true reason behind it, a good motivation of like positivity somewhere, or like I'm doing this for this reason. Now, like at this point for Dofi, he just wants chaos. Like, so I mean, except for I get Dressrosa, he did what he did there because he wanted to take over the land that was his and like his family's and things like that. But truly, like the extent of pretty much everything about him and the way he goes about everything and everything he did, including killing his own brother, like when he learned out who his brother truly was, like everything about Dofi is evil. Everything.
Yeah.
Except his family, except his love for his family.
Yeah.
I love
his like his pirate. Let me correct, his pirate family, not his actual.
Okay. I was like, I love my family so much. I
like,
kill my dad and my brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like Akainu is more evil than Dofi to a degree.
No, I don't think.
Because,
like at least Akainu has a sense of justice. Like he has something that he's working for.
But
Dofi
even said it.
He took over a country
for
because
justice. Justice is whoever is in power. Like
Yeah.
that is justice. He was like, it doesn't matter. Justice will prevail at the Marineford War because it doesn't matter whoever wins the war. That's who justice will be.
Dofi did what he did because he's helping with Kaido, and he had to take over a whole country to help with Kaido. Because I assume Dofi got his ass whipped by Kaido, and he learned real quick that like, don't mess with this monster. And then that's when he got the Caesar. I assume he's abducted Caesar and told him like, I'm gonna give you an island, go work on this for me, create the smile fruits, do all this while he's taking over Dressrosa for whatever amount. He was 10 years at Dressrosa before Luffy and Law stopped him.
I think it was 10 years because they had been toys for a while since, was it Rebecca was a kid?
Yeah, Rebecca was a kid.
But
Yeah.
I mean, he did that just because Kaido almost told him to do that, and he has the power to do that, to take over a whole country, to manipulate the country, to think like a king, like to make people forget people of the country, to make a king be the bad guy in the situation. Just a more aggressive Crocodile, where he actually just took over and be the savior and gain the people's trust. But because he told the people like the day before, like, oh, like this pirate named Luffy, he's going to be in our country. He's a really bad guy, but pretend we don't know him because I got him. I'll take care of Luffy.
Also, Dofi named Usopp a god, so
Yeah, that's
just wanted to sprinkle that in.
God Usopp, go D Usopp. He's also a D clan.
God,
The will of D. Go D Usopp.
Yeah. But I don't think we've seen the last of Dofi, even after when Luffy beats him. Like he's in the pirate ship and Jack is going after him, and he's in the cage and he's still smiling. Like Dofi still has something up his sleeve, like a card up the sleeve, like a Joker card up the sleeve. Like he's not done yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either, especially since he knows about what's going on. Well, he just got a paper, but he knows about the history and everything, so he has insight into what's going on in Ripri. So we're definitely not going to see the last of Dofi, and I hope he's going to be in that last war with the, celestial dragons and the world government just causing havoc on both sides.
I just don't know how he would get out, but I mean, hey, Info Down's been broken into and broken out of before, so he'll find a way.
They're like Luffy's first one, except for
Yeah. I don't know how secretive Impel Down is.
And then who's also another person who escaped Impel Down. It's like this is not the first time Luffy's not the first person who's broken out and fell down. But
yeah, Dofi, we'll get a lot more out of Dofi, and if we don't get Dofi in the fighting sense anymore, we'll at least get like history from Dofi, because again, he knows everything. Don't know how he found out all the information. I get that you used to be a celestial dragon and stuff. I don't know how you learned everything, but he knows like everything. So we're definitely going to get more history from Dofi.
I mean, I think he just has permissions to like go places that normal people don't. Like, I don't think he's allowed to live in the celestial dragon's like, palace or whatever. But he probably there's probably tomes and like libraries at the world government that no one has access to because it's like super classified information. So I could see him having access just because he is natural born celestial dragon.
Yeah.
But
we've got a few other characters to discuss. Guys, we're gonna get a bit more into things post Rivery. So if you're not caught up to Rivery, this is another good time to kind of pause and come back to us once you catch up on the Rivery. Maybe start getting into the Whole Cake Island and Wano arcs. But a quick convo about Imusama, that the dark, mysterious figure in the Reverie, that the five elders even bow down to. Those of you who may be looking at the video on YouTube, you can see him behind me in the background. This really mysterious figure that sits on the throne that originally they said no one sits on, no one can touch. It is their throne. We don't know what Imusama is, but except that they can tell the grand elders, the five elders, who to erase from history, apparently. So
when they introduce that throne and they're like, oh yeah, no one sits on there, that's why we do this every year, we all knew that somebody was about to sit on that throne. It's like, not what's boy from the island, Sabo's brother. He's like, I'm gonna sit.
Sabo's brother?
That
kid was Sabo's brother? That really annoying kid?
Yeah, that's his brother because they were brothers, right?
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Because I know Sabo. He escorted him. When Sabo snuck in, he was dressed as a guard. He was one who was like escorting him up to get inside of the Reverie and stuff. But I didn't know they were brothers. Interesting. I have to look at that. But I know who you're talking about because he was really, really annoying and was constantly like, I don't know. But yeah, Im-sama knows, like, it is the head of it all. I don't know if he has more say than the Celestial Dragons, but something tells me he has more say than the Celestial, or that it has more say than the Celestial Dragons. Don't know what species Im-sama is because as we know, there are a ton of species in One Piece. We just learned some things about some recent characters, so Im-sama could be anything. But I mean, had the giant straw hat locked in that like freezer in that vault that I think we all theorized belonged to Joy Boy 800 years ago. So, like, is Im-sama a being that is partly immortal? Like, was the one who led them to victory during the Void Century? Like, so many mysteries around Im-sama that like are very intriguing, and one of those things that Oda does sometimes, where you just see this nice shadowy figure and then he never talks about the shadowy figure for a long time.
It's like, I don't know, like he gives me like, Im-sama just gives me like Ghost of Christmas Future vibes kind of thing. Like he's just in a cloak and all he doesn't say anything and he just points and stabs things. Like it's because what he stabbed like Luffy's in
Blackbeard and Shirahoshi.
Yeah, but Vivi, like
Vivi,
yeah, and like stabs just like does that, but doesn't say anything. Like I don't think he ever said it. He, she, it, the ghost, whatever. Like
Ima's the ghost.
Yeah,
but like it's also funny because like they did that, like cutting up all the posters of everyone and then stabbing Shirahoshi's and like seeming like the darkness and this dark shadowy figure that has all these secrets and this power, but then like walked into a bright room and then just held a butterfly on its hand like it was like super peaceful. So it was literally in the same sense. We got like super peaceful, calm being, really evil and dark, and it's gonna like erase someone from history.
Maybe he's the one that erased Quebec from history. Or Zebek.
Zebek.
Mm-hmm.
The rocks.
But we also have a quick, much smaller antagonist.
Stelly, sorry.
Stelly.
Stelly, yeah. I'm on the wiki too, but they call him Starry, and I was like, I don't think it's Starry. It's like I'm pretty Stelly, but I just checked the manga too, so. Yep. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We're just I was gonna quickly remind everyone of a
The most
antagonist
annoying
that didn't matter. Especially we got him first in Drum Island and then got him again in Riverie. Didn't really matter in Drum Island, but apparently has some important knowledge that now, and that's none other than Waffle, like with the munch fruit that I thought was really stupid.
Is still stupid. Is still not was stupid. It is still stupid.
But somehow was the king of Drum Island until he got blasted off like Team Rocket when Luffy hit him with the Gum Gum Bazooka. Wherever he landed, somehow took over and became the king of that place, which happens to be a country that is invited to the Riverie.
Some bull. That's some bull.
And somehow throughout all of this, Waffle also gains incredible knowledge to some extent that it was important enough that like they were able to have like more private meetings with higher ups and I think he took this to Big News Morgan, I think it was, but like Waffle knows some things. Maybe not as much. He didn't know as much as Dofy, obviously, but like Waffle's becoming a reoccurring antagonist only because of what happened at the Riverie, which right now we don't really know what happened at the Riverie. We just got someone died, someone tried to assassinate someone, and someone's going to jail. So like we don't know what that all means, but things happened at the Riverie. Waffle was kind of a center part of that. So
Waffle's like the Buggy of later. That's because he was relevant. He wasn't really. I mean, he was a kind of antagonist villain. Now he's come back and he now knows things and he's doing stuff that it's like, oh, like that's really. I didn't think he was actually gonna do that, and he ended up doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Waffle's a happy accident. Like he is, because he just got lucky enough to get knocked to another island and not fall into the ocean. To die, that he could just take over like he did Drum Island, which I think he's the king of Dark Drum Island now. Like that's what I saw for the wiki. It was like, hey, king of Dark Drum Island.
That would make sense if he was close enough to where Luffy hit him with the bazooka. And a second ago, we briefly mentioned the name of Rox Zebek, Rox Pirates. And with the Rox Pirates, we got some pretty awesome characters that we learned about. Whitebeard was actually on the Rox Pirate crew, but obviously Whitebeard is a great character. He's more of a protagonist, not the protagonist, but a good character. Two antagonists that came from Rox crew that we are now heavily focused on are none other than Big Mom and Kaido. And we had, a full arc with Big Mom with Whole Cake Island. We finally got to go to her territory after Luffy threatened her. I think it was after Fishman Island, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Luffy threatened Big Mom.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, yeah, it was because of the candy factory. And I think it was polluting the town or doing something towards that end. And, he was like, yeah, I'm going to blow that up and I'm going to take control and I will protect you guys now. And
because Big Mom fought him. Because to join Big Mom's family or crew, you have to give up soul and pay her in debt with food, I believe. And that's why that's at least to be protected under Big Mom. If not, then I think you have to pay her in food in order to be under her flag. But if you live on the Whole Cake Island, you have to give up part of your life in order to stay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a life tax. That's just crazy.
That's rough.
Yeah. But again, Zebek was a man of the past that it took Roger, Goldie Roger, and Garp and like the royal government to combine forces to defeat in God's Valley. And then he erased his name from history. And with that, just this one crew alone that Big Mom and Kaido were on, 2 of the 4 Yonko, at one point 3 of the 4 Yonko when Whitebeard was around were part of this one-man ship. It's like, who is this captain? Who is Roxy Zebek? We still don't know, but we at least got Big Mom and Kaido out of this. And learning about Big Mom, it's so hard to make her a villain because of her drive and her goal. Like Big Mom wants for everyone to live peacefully together. She wants all races to be together, which is like really wholesome. And when you saw her as a kid, she really wholesome. Like she loved people, she loved things. It wasn't, but she had blackouts, especially when she got hungry. And she was really weird and really strong, like to the point where her parents gave her away because she was strange, gave her away to Mama Carmel. And it just happened to be that one, Carmel was actually working for the government and selling kids, but we're not gonna go there. That's the true villain. But like when it came to being hungry and having her hunger pangs, like she would just black out, and she even took down one of the giants of Elbath, and like they kicked her out and things like that, and just happened to like black out in, as we all assume, kind of know, but assume she ate everyone, all of her friends, and Mother Carmel. They were all there, and then my Black Mom like kind of had a blackout moment, and when she came back to, everyone was gone, and all of a sudden, like Big Mom, or at this point, Lin Charlotte had Mother Carmel's power.
Yeah, the soul fruit.
So
it's just weird because I thought, didn't Oda say like you can't consume somebody's like get a devil fruit power because you consume somebody?
Correct, but I think the way that probably happened, because they were having a feast. Remember, they were having a feast.
Yeah,
is that she probably ate Mother Carmel. Mother Carmel died. The power went to that closest fruit, and then she ate the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not confirmed yet.
No,
but it's a good working theory. That's, I think, for
absolutely. And I've seen a few theories around the Big Mom or around like what happened at the dinner, because of I don't want to get waste our time on this. So anybody, if you guys are listening and you want to know more fun theories about Charlotte, Lin, or Big Mom, and what happened at that feast at the blackout, check out Brago D Ace on YouTube. He's got some good theories there. I think O'Hara also has a good theory.
O'Hara is amazing, amazing theorist.
And like they go into some great theories about what happened at that dinner, involving like kind of to sum it up a little bit. Maybe Mother Carmel did die and get eaten, but Lin's friends did not. They successfully were sold to the government, and we may be seeing them again in the future. So yeah, check out that theory. I forgot what the title is, but if you find their page, they go into it. It's really good. But again, I don't think Big Mom's so much of a villain just because of her goals and her drive and what she wants. The way she goes about it is kind of villainous, because she's just pretty much forcing people, like Matt was saying, forcing people to sell their souls or to like feed her or like for their protection. And then when it comes to joining her, she's finding men of different races to in the past hook up with, because she has like 30, 40, 50 kids. Which is
like 6.
Jesus.
So a question, does that soul price extend Big Mom's life expectancy? Because I know she's like in her 50s or something like that.
But... Oh, she's 60s.
It doesn't go to her.
Because she transfers to like all the
homies
that
she makes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
yeah, she takes soul.
She's like pregnant all the time.
All the time.
Also, just random scientific question, is the gestation period the same for each kid? Like, is it still 9 months? Like, it's just a personal scientific question.
It's a valid question, because again, kind of like how Blackbeard's body's weird, Big Mom's is weird too, because she was, from what it looked like, her parents were normal and then she was not. So there is something there that like is not genetically right. So I could 100% see it being that like she could pop out a kid in like a month and just be like, oh, I'm pregnant, there's the baby, and it's like do it again. And obviously, as we know, kind of what happened with Sanji, this is what's kind of making Big Mom a villain, is that she, in her wanting to get everyone combined, she also wants power and will do almost anything to get it, including murder. Like tricking the Vinsmoke. Like she wanted the power of the Germa 6-6, so she was trying to force a marriage between her daughter and the Vinsmokes. And her plan was to, once the marriage was done and they were married, kill the Vinsmokes, take over Germa's power. So like, she's kind of evil.
She's kind of evil. I mean,
not kind of evil,
and that's not the first time she's done that too, which which makes sense. But with all the children, it's just because she does care for her children, but at the end of the day, she doesn't care for their husbands.
Correct.
Like, he's like, oh, you're just marrying him so we can combine these races together. Like, what is Sanji differently than to anything other than scientific technology that she wanted? That's all.
I think she kind of cares about some of the husbands. She doesn't care about her husbands. Like that's why she tried to kill Pound. But if you think about it, Capone's one of her sons-in-law technically, and she was perfectly fine, happy letting him like serve under her and be security and everything.
It's just weird because like she really doesn't. She does somewhat evil, like kills people. That's evil, but like usually people bring the fight to her. She never's wanted to go out to the fight though.
I mean, that's that we see because she's had to have a rise to power. So she's had to have like a history of going out, finding these husbands. And that's probably how her crew originally started, was like her first husband, her son got powerful, which I think her first child was Pedo. Yeah. And you see how he is. He's super evil.
Oh, he's pretty good, dude.
Hey.
I think he turned out pretty all right.
Pedro did it to himself, just saying.
Yeah, just saying.
I don't know why you're mad at me. He did it to himself.
He did it to
I
himself.
didn't do anything.
I didn't do a thing. Matter of fact, he hurt me.
You ain't even got an arm now.
I should be mad at you. You don't be mad at me.
But yeah, it's about the way Big Mom goes about these things. Like I don't think at this point she really goes after any fights. She doesn't really have to. I just think it's the fact that because right now she is so powerful that she can kind of make people follow her. Like I feel like she kind of made Jinbei follow her. Originally when Jinbei was under her, but it's just that Jinbei saw Luffy and saw the future that Luffy would, the potential in Luffy, and liked Luffy, that he was willing to risk his life to leave Big Mom to join Luffy. But like outside of that, I feel like she just has that influence that like you're not gonna want to betray Big Mom. You're not gonna fight her because, as we know, her haki is just like her hockey's so strong that even without like truly trying to focus on using it, you cannot harm her unless you like make her break down by destroying something such as the Mother Carmel's photos. Like that's the only way you can damage Big Mom. So
she stopped the nuke with her voice.
Yeah, like
that's the shoulder shrug. Is like, what are you gonna do?
You kind of screwed at that point. So yeah, but again, just the way she goes about it, she's very tricky, very manipulative when it comes to trying to get all the races, and it's like you can't tell her no. That's the one thing, is you can't tell Big Mom no.
That's the best way. I think that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, and we see that again with Jinbei trying to leave, and obviously she wants King because of the race the King is, being one of the only ones that she doesn't have. Kind of wanting him to join her crew, and him obviously saying races. No. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like it's the only one she doesn't have. It's like, wow, that's
one of these.
Because she's got. I think she doesn't have 3 now, right? She doesn't have Giants. She doesn't have the Lunarians, and I think there's one other race she doesn't have. But yeah, that's pretty much like Big Mom in a nutshell to me is a woman who wants to be a mom for everyone. That's why her name is Big Mom. Wants to, as she said, wants all the races to be able to live together. But and again, gets it from Mother Carmel, what she saw Mother Carmel do. Granted, like we now know Mother Carmel wasn't like the best person, but
she took real good care of them kids until they grew up, and when I mean grow up, be sold. But that's
but does have the downside of like you were a pirate on one of the most evil pirate crews ever, and you probably took a bunch of that stuff with you, and you were already strong enough, and you got a really OP devil fruit as a kid on accident, so when you get this complex of no one can tell you no, no one can tell you no. I think she's solid though.
I like just talking about her more. It gets me liking her more. But it's like,
at
the time when she was introduced, it was just weirdly timed. But at the end of the day, I think she's gonna be a great villain to look back on and be like, oh, she was really a powerhouse, and we're not taking her as seriously for no reason. We're just.
I can honestly see Big Mom not turning good, but like not staying so bad. Like I can see a
she already did that.
I could
She
see
did one already with amnesia.
Amnesia.
I could, especially, a little bit of a spoiler here, because of her, love for Tama, even though that was just because she fed her those dongos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could see her having a shift to work with the Straw Hats versus like solely against them.
Yep.
So
I think she's just there to protect Tama. Tama fed her. She did Luffy. Tama fed her, so she is good. She is therefore there's no bad in Tama, and I will fight for Tama no matter what. Even if she doesn't get any food anymore, she gave me food one time.
Then we get the last of the we get Big Mom's ex crewmate, the man whose life she apparently saved back on God's Valley. None other than the dragon himself, Kaido.
I want to talk about today's manga, but I know not to do that. That's a massive spoil. But
you can you can.
When Momo did Kaido.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I was like, he did the Goku. Goku bite, and I'm not sure if you guys read the Super. You guys don't. Well, we'll talk about it. You're Super. Did you see what Vegeta did?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, I was really happy with the fight with Kaido. Also, Kaido, definitely connects back to Dofi, as we talked about earlier, with wanting the smiles. Also, Kaido, his plan is also pretty cool, even though it's not as altruistic as Big Mom's, is to have a pirate crew of the most powerful zone users. He's like, I want to make sure that this lineage is strong of, hey, we're going to be animals, but we're going to be the most powerful animals in this world. And he starts by doing that with a dragon as his ability.
Being the strongest creature. I guess, dragons, the strongest creature, but it's like, oh yeah, there've been dragons in worlds, no, they're mythical, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we find a dragon bone somewhere in this earth.
Also, go ahead.
I was gonna say, they're called the Beast Pirates for a reason. That's their whole goal. Kaido, as we learned, I think last chapter or 2 chapters ago, that Kaido is not human. That's why he's called the strongest creature in the world, while Whitebeard was the strongest man in the world. And Kaido doesn't actually like humans. He was kind of he was kind of telling Yamato, he was like, you measly humans, you don't get along with humans, things like that. So I can understand why he's like, everyone needs to I'm only gonna have a crew of beast. And as we know, Kaido's whole thing is you have strongest is how you succeed in this crew. The strongest get to the top. There is no, you've been with me so long, you're a high ranking member. It's if you can't fight, then you're not up, then you're not high. And if you are high and someone wants to challenge you and they get that right to challenge you, they beat you, then they take your spot.
Yeah. It's a fair system. It's not the best
survival
leadership wise, but it's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I love how Kaido was introduced as this unbreakable, literally impenetrable man, where you see him fall from the top of Skypiea onto the ground and just make this hole in the ground while they're going on this monologue saying he's tried to kill himself, he's been sentenced to death, tried to be hung, executed X amount of times, and nobody can kill this man.
Nothing works.
Also, I think his race might be ogre. I think that was a theory.
Yes, yeah, they're ogres. They're ogres. I didn't know if I wanted to say it or not. Yeah, Onis. I didn't know if I wanted to say it or not in this, but we did say we were going to speak about it. So yeah, that's what they are.
Yeah.
He's just confusing right now. We're missing his backstory, because right now, what we know is he's taken over Wano literally just because to take over Wano and to just cause mayhem in that country, since I think it's the only country that's closed off to the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. from the world government. So he's there because there's almost no law. That's pretty what Dofi and Crocodile done, but he's doing it even more undercover.
That's what we can assume, at least, because all he's really told us when Yamato even asked was like, it had to be Wano. He didn't say why it had to be Wano, but he was like, it had to be Wano. And we do see the giant Oni scale, like the skull that is Onigashima is an Oni skull. So like there is some heritage to maybe like the old continent pullers of the day being whose skull that is. Maybe someone of Kaido's race, centuries
Maybe
ago.
his father.
But like that's like that. I feel like that's part of why it was Wano.
Ooh, it would be cool if it was like a revenge, like because there's been some great tragedy that the country of Wano, not necessarily Odin or anyone there now, but has done against his race and like has perpetuated. So he's like, it has to be Wano.
Mm-hmm.
Just know it has to be Wano. Don't question me. But like, there's a reason I had to get strong. There's a reason I had to come here, which is more than but not more than I'm willing to tell you because you're my child. So you should just listen to me and trust what I say.
You're a kid, be a
Daddy's
kid.
right.
You're a kid, be a kid, but also you're gonna have to live with the consequences of these actions that you made, which was pretty steep. Okay. Talking about Yamato.
But also, I think what's cool about Kaido at this point is that all he really wants is to die, but he wants to die in a glorious battle. Like he's like, Whitebeard did it right. Whitebeard got to die like a man's death. He got to go out in glory. He got to go out, in this magnificent war. And that's all I want. I want the largest war in history, and I want to go out in battle. Like that's what Kaido wants. So,
but he's gonna make an easy battle. Like you got to beat me for real. I'm not gonna give you this dub just to give you. The dub.
Nah. You gonna have to actually catch these hands, but you need to be stronger than me, which not a lot of people are. Like we know that Big Mom probably is, and we know that Shanks is because Shanks literally stopped him from going to Marineford, and I think the only way you can do that is to be better than him. So. I think those are like probably honestly the only two that could really maybe Garp, because again like Garp is apparently like hella strong. Like
Prime, let's go Prime Garp because right now Garp maybe not so much, but Prime Garp.
I don't even know if I would say Garp right now is not so much because like
even if you stop 3 times skip Luffy.
Chose not to stop pre-time skip.
Yeah, I know.
And then he was literally I could see if he was going to kill Akainu, he would have killed Akainu. And the only reason that didn't happen was because of Sengoku.
He told Sengoku to hold him down. He was like, do not let me go because if you let me go, I will kill this man. Like, and honestly, everyone believed him. That's why Sengoku kept him down because he was like, oh, I know. Like, you will end this man's whole career like right now. So
yeah, this is also the man that stood to Rogers, the strongest man, and he had no problem fighting on par, even better than Whitebeard. Because we saw that clash from the past.
Yeah, Kaido was always an interesting villain just because of the things that kept happening. One, we've been in Wano for what, like 3 years now? But
it has been a minute.
We've continued to get good things though. Like we learned more about Kaido. He was the strongest creature that couldn't die. And we were like, what the hell does that even mean? Now we know what it meant by creature. We know that he's an ogre or an oni. We know that like he really can, like, they tried to stab him, to kill him, to bomb him, to hang him. None of these things work. He jumped off of a freaking sky island by himself and still lived. But we do know that he can't be hurt. We're seeing it now. He's got the scar because of Odin. Zoro just gave him a scar. Luffy's beating him up internally, beating him up with Conqueror's Haki as well. So he can't be damaged, and maybe that'll help him lead to his death. So like you guys said, now all we're really waiting on is a backstory. And that's how you know it's going to be the end of Kaido. I feel like that's probably why Oda hasn't given it to us yet. Is like we're gonna get the end of Kaido
And then it's gonna be
when
like,
it's
oh,
time
my
for Kaido
life
to die.
flashes before my eyes.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of like, oh, this is what I wanted. I always wanted to go out in a big fight, and then like showing Kaido's life and why he had that want of going out in a big fight, which might honestly also have something to do with the Rocks Pirates, because I, if Sebek is dead, that's where I feel like that happened, was the big battle, huge war on God's Valley. He got to see that firsthand, and it was kind of like, that's how I wanted to do it. Because he was only a cabin boy when he was on that crew. So it's kind of like, that's how I want to do it.
That's
So
the way
who
to
knows?
go out.
Yeah, that's a man's man right there.
Also, we
stupid
have
like
like
that.
Kaido is like another big resurgence of the influence of like the worst generation, because Kid comes back into play, Hawkins, Apu, X Drake, anyone else? Law and Luffy are there.
Killer
Killer,
Zoro.
Was there.
Zoro. The
Only
only one.
We're missing
Capone.
Jury Bonnie, Capone, and
And
Blackbeard.
Hero.
Hero. Yeah. But Hero was also there when Kaido jumped off
That's it.
of the Sky Island.
Because they
Yeah,
shared the
because they
sake
were all
cup
gonna
together,
fight
and
him.
that's right before he jumped.
Yep. They were all talking. Yep.
Yep. I just need to know his backstory, and then I think he's going to become a better villain than perceived. That's
Also, he's become a villain to this town too, like to a really strong degree, because it's been what, 20, 30 years?
20
20
years.
20 years that he's been taking over, and had like even effects on Odin, who has connections to Rogers. But the fact to boil that man alive, and it was like, hey, that's a man I respected, even though he died.
Then he shot him like a bitch.
like an asshole.
Yeah. I'm curious now though if Kaido was going to die. Like, I don't. Obviously, we know Luffy doesn't kill people. Luffy hadn't killed anybody. He beats them up and like does things, like takes away from them the one thing they really want. Like, that's kind of what's been Luffy's trope. And I think, but again, remember, post Wano, we're supposed to get the biggest war in One Piece that is supposed to make Marineford look like a little baby battle. So that would make sense to be the giant war Kaido's always wanted, that would lead to Kaido's death. So I kind of think that's where we're going to see the end of Kaido. Like, he's going to lose in Wano. Obviously, he's going to lose. I think he loses. He flies away, or he somehow gets out. Maybe with Big Mom, unless she betrays him. But, he gets out, he goes away, and then wherever he goes to recover and heal up and whatnot, starts to lead to the biggest war One Piece has ever seen.
Probably all manga.
Yeah.
But the only time, and it's going to be, time will tell.
It'll be cool to see.
These are all great villains, though. We've got, so many good ones, so many antagonists. Because I don't really, like Imsama, I'm going to just say he's an antagonist because nothing's happened so far there. We just know that they're not necessarily a good being.
Anyone with the world government is bad.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I don't know. I love what we've gotten so far. Again, some of these people got shafted by plot armor, Anel and Crocodile. Honestly, kind of dopey. If nothing could beat Birdcage, and the Birdcage needles are supposed to be able to puncture anything, and Dopey's needles, especially with Haki on them, should be able to stab through anything. But somehow Luffy was able to overcome the Haki and have a stronger armament Haki at the end of it all. Kind of.
I mean, but I feel like it goes back to like that training that Luffy had in that instance that Luffy had with Rayleigh, was that the real power of your Haki improves during battle, not just before. So that's adding to like, hey, him adding the Conqueror's Haki into the armament Haki and punching. But it's just, I feel like another aspect of that is like he's improving throughout his battles, not having to train and then get more powerful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. With Katakuri.
Yeah.
Which, Like, so, I guess, Tawan, we know that your favorite is Dovi. Matt, do you have like a favorite villain of this
Favorite
list,
villain,
or just in general?
Blackbeard. Yeah,
Yeah.
Blackbeard. It's yeah,
How about you,
Blackbeard right
Dom?
now. Right, I'm gonna say right now Blackbeard because I feel like I am gonna like big. I think like later at the end of the story, I think Big Mom and Kaido will redeem themselves as like great villains. But right now, Blackbeard just on the horizon. What he's gonna do because we're coming to the end of Big Mom and Kaido, but like
Yeah.
Blackbeard, he's still waiting for his opportunity, and that's so are we. That's
I'm between Kaido and Blackbeard. I think it's because, like Matt said, like Blackbeard we haven't got to see do a lot, but we know Blackbeard's that dude. And like kind of that, so part of me is like I'm really antsy to know more about Blackbeard and the moves he's made and how he's made these moves, especially because even in the beginning he had Luffy um that was able to sneak into the road government and sneak into that meeting with the Shichibukai, and everyone was like, "Oh, Luffy, like you must be Luffy. Like, how'd you even get in here?" And like was able to sneak in and present Blackbeard as being the next Shichibukai. So like he already had this pretty strong crew from the jump, and now he's gotten even more powerful people and it's going around selling devil fruits. So like I like what Blackbeard is doing in terms of a villain, like being a true behind the scenes villain of One Piece, the anti-Luffy. But Kaido, probably because we're getting him right now, and obviously I love dragons. Dragons are one of my favorite mythological beasts, and I love that side of it for Kaido. But like what Kaido's doing, I don't care so much for. I don't give a shit about the smile fruits and wanting to make this giant beast army. But I do like wanting to have a large war. I do like, again, like your devil fruit and how he uses his devil fruit. There's not, to me, there's not a lot of depth to Kaido. So
Yeah, it's like power took over Wano.
yeah, yeah. Wants a giant war. That's about it. But not even wants to conquer everything. Just wants a giant war.
just cause mayhem to cause mayhem.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But guys, another good episode. Our fellow feasters, thank you guys for all listening in. We always appreciate you all taking the time throughout your day, whether it's your commute home, whether you're working from home and taking a listen, you're working out at the gym, however you take your time to listen to our podcast, we greatly appreciate it. Please continue to do so. Please tell your friends and your friends and your family about us.
Well, if you do have fans, tell them about us too, because we're trying to get fans.
Oh, absolutely.
To be just like yours.
If any of you are also other podcasters or content creators, we would be happy to also have sessions together. We'd love to do partnering podcasts, have great discussions about different anime things, whatever the topics are you all want to discuss. Our listeners, if there's something you want to hear from us, definitely let us know. Send a message on our Instagram or Facebook page, or not Facebook, Instagram or Twitter pages, or on our YouTube channel as well. Anything you want to do there. The Anime Feast on Instagram, Anime Feast on Twitter. Matt, I know you said you're working on a different.
I actually got to change the name, so I've learned how to change the name. So we are Anime Feast on YouTube.
Perfect. So Anime Feast on YouTube as well. Check us out on those platforms. Once again, give us a rating on whatever platform you are listening to us on today. We always appreciate it. We're here for you all. We're having a good time with guys. Just as great fans and friends who love anime and manga, just talking about these topics, coming up with these things, just enjoying our nightly and our morning sessions. So, last words, fellas?
Awesome. Stay hungry, my friends.
Yes. Until next time, hope you enjoy the meal.
Peace.
Peace.